Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kaylee and this video is going to be the first monthly setup in my new bullet journal. This here is my old bullet journal and as you can see it has been well loved, well used, and it's a little bit battered and bruised. This is the first bullet journal that I've done in a long time in one of these sorts of notebooks. I had been using a different one previously, but I have loved using it. This one was from Notebook Therapy, and so I decided to buy a new one from Notebook Therapy again. I've kept some of the things the same in my new journal. I've just changed the layout. However, certain things like the goals page I didn't use, I've got rid of that. I changed the books I've read spread because I did way too many books on here, and I didn't manage to fill them all, which made me feel bad. I didn't need the overtime page anymore because I'm not doing as much overtime anymore. But I decided to keep the monthly introduction pages and the overview pages pretty similar. I love this tracker style. It works really well for me to just have one tracker with my mood, sleep and steps on it. So this is what I'm going to be continuing with because I can't keep track of, trackers where it's all little grids and I have to colour in the boxes. I don't know why, it just works well for me to have it all on one. So I'm going to continue this into my new journal, and I've loved learning what works, what doesn't, and adapting that and seeing how it will work in my new journal. It's a process. So this is my new journal. Again, it's from Notebook Therapy and I love this one. It's this beautiful like tealy green colour. It looks kind of blue on the video. It's got these beautiful gold edged pages, and I just love the design. You can see that I've already set up some of the pages in this book, but I just thought I'd give you a little look at it before we delve inside and see my setup. I love the feel of these as well with the fabric covers. They're just lovely. There's a pocket in the back which I find really useful to store things in, and they all come with these beautiful little paper clips that are themed to fit in with the journal that you buy. So absolutely love that, and this is one of those purchases that I've gone back to the same place again, so clearly I enjoyed using it. For some reason I don't like writing my name on the front page. I need to practice writing my name. It's the one word that I seem to hate the way I write it every single time. So I didn't put it in my last journal and I haven't put it in this one yet, so I do need to do that, but never mind. This is my first page and it's kind of themed similar to my last journal, which had loads of little front doors on it. And I decided to use paint, which I hadn't done in my journal before, but I wanted to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone this time. So I painted that one, and my key and my grid spacing are here. The key, what do you call them? Like the symbols that I've used are all exactly the same, but I used this brown paper just to cover up where it had crinkled and a little bit of paint had bled through, and I think that actually looks quite nice. So very, very simple. There's my key, and I decided instead of doing a grid spacing page, I did that as a ruler this time so I can take it in and out. I just put this little like band in the page so that it would be easy to take the ruler in and out but hold it in there securely. And as you can see, I did the across line spacing on one side, and then so I did the vertical on the other. Sorry, it's late, I've been working all day, my brain's not working and my words aren't coming out right, but here we are. So there's my grid spacing ruler. I've used this a lot and I would highly recommend using the grid spacing ruler format instead of having it on a page. It's just worked really well for me. This is my future log, and I'm not sure about this page. I don't love it, but I wanted to kind of keep with the sort of greens and the brown paper going through. So yeah, what do you think? I've just got these little calendars. I've started from October because that is when I'm starting this journal, but there's still 12 months taking me all the way up to September next year. My last book lasted me 5 or 6 months, so I won't need all of these, but it's just always good to be able to plan ahead. This is a new page that I didn't include in my last journal, and it is a budget page. I don't know if I'm going to put like an envelope or something on here and I can slide inside, all my ingoings, outgoings, just to keep on track of my money. Things are tight these days, so I just thought it would be good to be on top of that. And then I thought any big purchases, I'm going to write them in here, mull it over, and then I can decide if I want to buy them or not, and then I can write that in if I do buy them, and I can just keep track of my spending to see if I'm being completely frivolous or not. My next page is an ideal day spread, and I saw this, I can't remember if it was Pinterest or YouTube, but I loved the idea. So basically, I'm going to map out what my ideal day would be. So I've got AM, PM, and evening for each day, and I'm going to block in what I would like to, in an ideal week, get done on each of those days. Is it going to happen every week? No. But is it potentially going to inspire me to try and make it happen? I hope so. I've just done a bit of collaging around the edge. I've tried to keep in again with the same sort of colour palette, and I actually really like the way this is looking. It's very different to the style of my last journal, but that's the joy of bullet journaling. You can mix it up and make it different and suit where you're at in your life at that time and how you're feeling creatively. This is going to be the books that I've read page. I think I might write in the top left corner books that I've read. I'm not sure, I've not done it yet. But again, I painted this one because I was just in one of those moods where I felt like painting. I've done a little armchair. I don't know if the books are too small, if I'm going to be able to fit the book titles in there, but we're going to give it a go. And either way, I really enjoyed the process of making this page. I'm hoping I can fill all of these books with titles of books that I've read during the 6 months I have this journal. But we'll see. I managed 17 books in the past 5 months, so we need to up our game a little bit, I think. I've also got a savings tracker, and we've booked a holiday to Turkey for 2024, and we have already started saving, but obviously I've left this blank because I'm not going to share all of the details of my holiday on YouTube. But basically I've left space for the date, location, cost, when it needs to be paid by, and then a little tracker to take me all the way up to when we've saved all the money for the holiday. I did a little illustration on the bottom right, just some suitcases and a bag, and then I found this vintage map page in an old encyclopedia, and it had Turkey on it, so I thought that would be nice, again, to cover some of the bleeding from the painting on the page before it. So I can't wait to get tracking with this, and hopefully it will keep me motivated. The last page that I'd already set up is my notes page, and I loved having one of these in my last journal. It became really, really useful. I definitely needed it. So I've just collaged a little bit because it's coming up to autumn. Well, it will be autumn by the time we start this journal. I've done some mushrooms, some coffee. I've stuck with those like brown, warm tones. And I just wanted it to feel kind of autumnal, but basically it's just a brain dump page. Now to get started on my monthly spreads. I initially started by drawing the outline of where my picture's going to be, and then I changed my mind because that's okay. I didn't want to smudge the pen whilst I was doing my drawing, so I left that where I knew my hand wouldn't be going over the pen and started on my illustration. Usually I would do a black outline for all my illustrations and then colour in afterwards, but I decided to just go straight in with my pencil crayons this time. I'm using the Crayola Colours of the World pencil crayons here, and I'm just sketching this tree. I'm not the best artist, but I like giving it a go. And it's fun to do. It's relaxing, it helps me focus, and it makes me want to use my journal because I get to be creative in it. So I drew this tree, and I'm still not sure if I should have outlined it or not. I was toying with the idea of using paints, but I didn't. So yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Let me know what you think. What would you change? How would you make it better? Underneath the tree, I'm drawing this cute little fox, and I was quite pleased with how this turned out. So I started by using one of the brown colours, and I did the outline, and then I just shaded very lightly with the brown colour. Because I didn't want, when I did the orange, for it to be super bright. I wanted it to be more muted. So I started with the brown, and then I added some little sort of shading very subtly where the shadows would have been. Then I went over with my orange, and I really liked the colour that this gave for my cute little fox. I'm quite happy with the way the fox turned out. So I did the orange, and then I went back over some of those brown lines again and gave him a cute little face. I need to think of a name for him, or her. I don't know. Is this a boy or a girl fox? I think it's a boy. Once I'd done the fox, I added some leaves, and I just used lots of different shades of brown and orange to make some leaf-like shapes underneath the tree, as if they've all piled up at the bottom after falling from the tree. Like I say, I'm not the best artist, but this is all about enjoying myself, and I like to think that over time I will get better by practicing. So it's all about having fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a work of art. It's your journal to do what you want with, and I'm trying to let go of that need for it to be what I deem as perfect, because let's face it, it's never going to be. Then I decided to do this purple in the sky just to make it a bit darker when I put the blue on. But for some reason, there was this one patch where it just kept making like a harsh line, and it really bothered me, and it still bothers me, but it is what it is. We keep going. So yep, that's the blue just going over the top. I still wanted it to be quite pale. I didn't want it to overpower the picture and be too dark. Can you hear that noise outside? I think there's like a big van outside. Never mind. I'm sorry if that's distracting. And then for the ground, I didn't know whether to do green, but I decided on brown just to keep the nice muted tones. I didn't want to sort of overpower the picture by adding another colour. I wanted to keep it really kind of neutral. So I just added the brown for the floor, a bit of a shadow for the fox, and rubbing out any little bits that went over the lines. I used gold for the moon because I just felt it fit in with the colours of the illustration more than a silver would have, and some little stars in the sky. I wrote October at the bottom because that's going to be the month that this journal is started in, and finished off that outline. And I'm quite pleased with how this little fox turned out. I think it's quite cute. It's no work of art, but it makes me smile when I look at it. So there you go. The next page I'm going to start working on is my quote page, and I found this quote about autumn and loved it. I wanted it in my journal, so it's going in there. I apologise if my voice isn't great. I've got a chest infection and I'm trying to be quiet because the kids are sleeping. So yeah, I apologise for that. So here's the quote. I did the word autumn in this sort of browny colour, the rest of the words in black except for the word beautiful, which is in gold. And the quote is, autumn shows us how beautiful it is to let things go. And I just thought that was a really nice quote. It was something that made me think, something that made me stop when I saw it. So that's why it's going in. I did the border of this quote in gold instead of black. And again, I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I put a piece of paper in between those pages because the gold pen tends to smudge. I learnt this the hard way in my last journal. So I always put a piece of paper in between to sort of blot it whilst it dries, and then I'll take that out later. This is going to be my monthly overview. This is like my hub of everything of the month. So I started by writing October in the top corner, and then I've written all of the dates down the side, and alternate ones I have coloured in across just to kind of separate that up and make it easier to see. Then I'm working on my illustration, which is some mushrooms. My theme for this month is just autumn. There's no set theme to it, no one thing that I'm going to keep drawing. I'm just going to draw autumn things that make me happy. So this time it was mushrooms. So I just did this random, I don't even think these are proper mushrooms. I didn't use any sort of reference, but just a random little group of mushrooms. And then I've drawn that over the top of my calendar. So this is just going to show me what day of the week each of those dates fall on. And then if there's things like birthdays, I'll put a balloon in the box, or if there's a special date to remember, like anniversaries, get a love heart in them. And it's just a nice little visual for how to track any important dates that are coming up in that month. I've been trying not to use a ruler, so my lines aren't perfect, but I'm kind of loving the imperfections as I go along with this. The next thing I'm doing is my tracker, like you saw in my last journal. So it's just really, really simple. I put the dates along one side, and then I put the numbers 1 to 12 up the other. When I'm using this, each number represents an hour if it's the sleep that I'm tracking. Each number for my steps is 1,000 steps. So sometimes the tracker goes crazy and goes all the way up and off the tracker. Sometimes it's really low. But 12 seems to be a comfortable number for me to mostly fit within the tracker. And then mood, I tend to judge 1 to 10. 10 being the best day ever and 1 being absolutely awful. So this will look better as I fill it in. I'll have a different colour line for each of the steps, mood or sleep. And then I think it looks pretty cool when it's done and you've got all the lines sort of crossing over each other, and you can see the correlations between like my sleep and my mood and how much I've been moving. And I really, really like that. Then I started colouring in the mushrooms, again using the Crayola Colours of the World felt tips this time, and I just picked random colours that I thought would go nicely together. I tried to do like this one as a spotted mushroom. I'm not sure how much I love it, but you know, you had to have a mushroom with spots in there. It just had to be done. Then along the top I had this blank space, so I decided to do a bit of a to-do list, and I've just put some lines across that empty space, and anything that I want to achieve during that month I can put up there, whether it's sort out the cupboard in the kitchen that's been annoying me for ages, or you know, things around the house, things with work, things with family. Anything I want to achieve or get done within October can go in there and then be migrated into my weeklies. This last spread that I'm going to do is my first weekly, and it's the first time I've laid it out this way, so let me know what you think. I'm not sure, but I like to try new things, so here you go. I started by putting my calendar tab in the top left corner, and then I decided to do an illustration, and I've left the rest of this page blank because I thought it would be good for either notes, thoughts, maybe a bit of journaling. I could write about my week. I'm not sure yet because October's still a couple of weeks away, so there's time for me to decide what to do with this space. But my illustrations were all based around tea and coffee on this page, nice warm autumn drinks. So I started by doing this drawing of a lady drinking some coffee. Why are hands so difficult to draw? Like I said, I am no artist. I'm learning as I go. I take inspiration from illustrations I find online and then just have a go at sketching it out myself. So yeah, it's not perfect, but I enjoy trying, and that's the most important thing. And then I decided to do this layout that I think I again saw on Pinterest. And it's basically the boxes all on one page and evenly spread sort of in a, not a circle, but in a rectangle around the page. You see what I mean. I then wrote the numbers for the dates in the top left corner of each box. And I've done the days of the week. There's 8 boxes. So the last box is going to be anything for next week that I need to remember. In the centre, I decided to do another illustration of some hands holding a coffee with a nice woolly jumper on. Again, hands are really difficult. I don't know why I decided to try and do this, but we like to challenge ourselves. So here I am just filling the rest in. Again, I always work from top left to bottom right just to try and avoid smudging. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I use my felt tips to colour in the illustrations, and I just decided to do this deep rose colour for the jumper, which I actually really, really liked. And then I used a paler rose colour just to go over the top. So like the deeper colour was the crinkles, and then the lighter colour was the jumper, I guess. I realised that I hadn't done this part of the illustration, so I added that in. And then I just finished off her jumper there. I'd love a jumper like this. If anyone knows where I can get one, please let me know. I coloured in on the other side. Now, there was a point where the black pen started smudging, and I got really upset and thought I should have left this a little bit longer and come back to it. But we carry on, we keep going, and I don't think it's too noticeable. It's mostly on the hands that you can see it, and it's going to bother me, I'm going to be honest. But I'm actually quite pleased with how these illustrations turned out. You can see on the hands on the right hand side there's like a really big smudge. I tried to go over it with my white pen and correct it, but it didn't really work. So if anyone's got any tips of how I can fix that, let me know. I'm colouring her hair there, adding the coffee in, and we are done. Really, really simple and quick. But here is a final flip through of those pages that I've just created. Here's my title page with that quote on the left hand side and the illustration on the right. This is the page that I use the most every single month. It's like my overview, my hub, my brain as I call it. and the first of my weekly spreads. This is probably going to change every single week, so let me know if you want to see another weekly and how I lay it out differently. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Give this video a like if you liked it, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.